So a couple weeks ago, I did the most disappointing player for every team in Major League Baseball. And you guys seem to enjoy those kind of videos. 100K plus views? Very nice, thank you. Today, you saw the title, you know what you're getting. You're getting the most surprising player from every team. So we're talking about surprising in a positive way. There could be a lot of players who are surprisingly bad, but instead we're gonna focus on the surprisingly good players. Some teams a lot easier to choose than others, like the Pirates, just bad. They don't have a lot of good surprises, so we gotta figure some out. One surprising player from every team in Major League Baseball. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it. Great way to show support to the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Remember to get in the comments down below. Let me know your opinions on the most surprising player from your favorite team, or you can just say who I got wrong, who got snubbed, anything you want to put in the comments down below. And last but not least, make sure you drop me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, second channel, Twitch. Links are in the description as always. For the Cleveland Indians, a bit of a weird season, but I think the most surprising player on that team is going to be James Karinchak, relief pitcher. Now, if you've been following Karinchak, you would know that this is actually how the player was going to perform. He's always been a crazy high strikeout pitcher, but for a lot of people in baseball, he kind of went under the radar. Doesn't throw 101 miles an hour. That's one of the reasons why, but his stuff is absolutely filthy. 17.3 Ks per nine, which is some of the best in Major League Baseball. Doesn't give up any hits, 4.9 hits per nine. The walks are a bit high, 5.6 walks per nine, but he has a 2.63 ERA in 24 innings pitched. He's been one of the best relievers for the Indians, and I think that's been a surprise to many. For the Diamondbacks, it was really tough to think of a surprising player because the Diamondbacks have been bad, but I'm going to end up going with Merrell Kelly. Now, yes, he's hurt, but his first 5 starts were surprising because he was off to a great start. 3-2 record with a 2.59 ERA and a whip at .989. This is a guy who had a 4.42 ERA last year, a whip at 1.3. He improved his strikeouts, limited the walks, limited the hits. Merrell Kelly was pitching a lot better in 2020 in a small sample size than he did in 2019, and I don't think that anybody really saw that coming. He was arguably one of the best pitchers on the Diamondbacks this year until he got hurt, but of course now he's hurt, so that's the end of Merrell Kelly's season. The Detroit Tigers, big surprise team this year, but I think the most surprising player on that team by far has to be Jeimer Candelario. Candelario the last few years has been less than stellar. A combined OPS of 684 the last 2 years. You weren't really excited about this guy, but in 2020, Candelario has balled out. 7 homers, 12 doubles, 3 triples, 28 RBIs, 307 average, 371 on base, 523 slugging, and 894 OPS. He's absolutely crushing baseballs this year. He's having a really good season for the Tigers, and while they have fallen off a little bit, Jeimer Candelario's production has not. Had a really good season in 2020. Now, on the flip side of things, the Dodgers, we knew they were going to be really good, so it's hard to find someone that's surprising, but I think it is safe to say that Tony Gonsolin being the better of the 2 rookie pitchers this year was a surprise to many. Dustin May got all the hype. Tony Gonsolin's been the better pitcher by far. In 8 starts, 40 2/3 innings, he has a 1.77 ERA with a whip at .787. I mean, if he pitched more innings this year, he'd casually be in the Cy Young conversation with those numbers, because those are some of the best in the league. 8.9 strikeouts per nine, 5.5 hits. He's limiting the walks, not giving up the long ball. Tony Gonsolin completely went under the radar to many fans around baseball, and if you asked him who's probably having the better year, you'd go with Dustin May, but in actuality, Tony Gonsolin has been the better pitcher, and I think that would surprise a lot of people. The Miami Marlins, oh man, their shortstop, Miguel Rojas, has been surprising. This is a guy who I've never been high on. Didn't think he was much of a player, and it was fair. For his career, he had like a 650 OPS. In 2020, he's played really well, and I gotta give him credit. 4 homers, 9 doubles, and 19 RBIs, 340 average, 429 on base, 563 slugging, and 992 OPS. These are by far the best numbers of his career ever. I mean, last year in 132 games, he hit 5 homers. This year in 34, he's got 4. We haven't seen Miguel Rojas play like this. He's always been a guy who had a steady glove at short, but this year he showed he has a little bit more at the plate with that bat. I did not see it coming. I don't think anybody did. Probably not even Miguel Rojas. Sticking in the National League East, Atlanta Braves' most surprising player, I'm going with Adam Duvall. Could have also gone with Travis d'Arnaud, but I chose to go with Adam Duvall because he's currently tied for the league lead in the National League with home runs at 16, and there's definitely nobody who thought that Adam Duvall could possibly have the most home runs in the National League this year. 16 homers, 8 doubles, and 33 RBIs. He has cooled off a bit at the plate, so his slash line isn't as good as it once was. A 247 batting average, 308 on base, 584 slugging, gives him an OPS still at 892. Very good season, building off a strong 40 games last year in 2019. Overall, again, not the craziest year of all time. There are guys having really good seasons on the Braves, but I think it's surprising because he leads the league in home runs at 16. Heading back out west now, the American League West, Texas Rangers' most surprising player, Rafael Montero. Rafael Montero, in a very small sample size in 2019, had a good season. 29 innings, 2.48 ERA, but I don't think anyone thought that that was going to continue into 2020, where he's been one of the better players on the Rangers. The Rangers also just haven't been very good. In 14 appearances, he has a 3.68 ERA with a whip at 1.023, striking out 9.8 batters per 9 innings, giving up less hits. The walks are a little up, but he is limiting the home runs. Rafael Montero has had a very solid year for the Rangers, might actually have some value on the trade market again, and for a guy that was like super low risk, pretty decent reward, at one time was a top prospect, it's nice to see that he finally has hit that potential maybe that we once saw, not as a starter, but as a reliever. Still surprising year nonetheless. 8th player of today's video, New York York Mets, Dom Smith, without a doubt. Dom Smith is having a ridiculously good year. We saw him finally get some more stable playing time in 2019, and he really showed us he's got talent. 881 last year OPS. But in 2020, he's been the guy. He's been in the lineup almost every single day, and the numbers have been great. Arguably an MVP candidate. 9 homers, 18 doubles, and a triple to give him 41 RBIs on the season in 45 games, 323 batting average, 385 on base, 620 slugging, 1006 OPS. Dom has been the best offensive player on the Mets this year, without a doubt. Maybe Conforto, but Dom Smith has been so good. Even to put him in the conversation as one of the best offensive players, that's a surprise, especially when you had guys like Alonso, McNeil, Conforto. To say Dom Smith has been the best on the Mets this year, it's not ridiculous, but it is surprising. For the Kansas City Royals, interesting pick here, but Brad Keller. Brad Keller the last few years hasn't been like the most dominant pitcher in baseball, and he never really will be, but his numbers are playing pretty well this year in 2020. A 2.77 ERA with a whip at 1.068. He's limiting the hits. He's down 2 hits per 9, which is big for him. A guy who doesn't strike out a lot of batters, only 5.5 this year in 9 innings. He's limiting the hits, limiting the home runs, and his walks, his control has gotten better. While I don't think he's a top pitcher in baseball by any means, he is pitching really well for the Royals this year. Low ERA, low whip. Didn't expect that to come from Brad Keller. Back out east, Beantown, the Boston Red Sox. Tough to pick a surprising player. I ended up going with Alex Verdugo. A lot of their good players are playing well or playing poorly, so like they would be more disappointing than surprising. Verdugo, while I know he was good and many around the league thought he was good, we didn't think that he was going to hit for this kind of average, also have this kind of power. He's really getting comfortable in Boston. He's going to be a great player for them in the future. It's just you got to remember that they traded him for Mookie Betts. That's the problem. 6 homers, 15 doubles, and 14 RBIs with 4 stolen bases this year, hitting 328 with a 383 on base, 511 slugging, and 894 OPS. Makes him one of the better offensive players on the Red Sox this year. Playing good defense, plays the game the right way. Verdugo's a really good player, really talented. I think Red Sox fans will learn to love this guy and probably are a little surprised with how well he's playing this year in 2020. For the Padres, there have been plenty of surprises this year. They clinched the playoff spot already. They might be one of the best teams in baseball, but I don't think that anyone had Jake Cronenworth pegged as the rookie of the year in the National League, and that's what it looks like it's going to be. Cronenworth's played in 48 games this year, 4 homers, 15 doubles, 3 triples, 20 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases, hitting 303 with a 370 on base, 516 slugging, and 886 OPS. This was kind of an afterthought in a trade that they made with the Rays. You didn't think Cronenworth was going to be the big pullback, but Cronenworth has been great. He plays a variety of different positions, has a ton of value, and if you really wanted to, he can pitch. He pitched in the minors, hasn't done it yet in the majors. Regardless, Cronenworth, most surprising player on the Padres without a doubt. He's been really good for them in 2020. Chicago Cubs. The Cubs have a lot of surprising bad players, but one of the surprising good ones, Ian Happ. Now, what's funny about Ian Happ is his batting average is identical right now to what it was in 2019, 264, but in 52 games, 12 homers, 11 doubles, 28 RBIs. He has a 370 on base, 539 slugging, 910 OPS, building off a very strong 2019 where he played in only 60 games again, so it's surprising because he's doing it again for an extended period of time. He's now got 120 plus games of having an OPS around 100. Ian Happ's a good player. I think it's surprising Cubs fans that he's playing so well. For the New York Yankees, there's one obvious choice, most surprising player. It's Luke Voit. Luke Voit leads all of Major League Baseball in home runs with 21 this year by a good margin. I think there was a stat that I saw the other day of like least amount of games at 20 homers in a season, and Luke Voit was in the conversation with Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth. That's pretty ridiculous company. 21 homers, 5 doubles, 49 RBIs, 286 average with a 348 on base, 654 slugging, and a 1002 OPS. He might win the MVP in the American League. He's having that good of a year. 21 homers. I don't think anybody saw that in 49 games considering he hit 21 in 118 last year. What a power surge from Luke Voit. The Baltimore Orioles, the entire team could be surprising, but the most surprising player in my eyes, Jose Iglesias. Now, what's surprising is how he's doing it. He has a 921 OPS this year with only 1 homer. Now, he has 15 doubles and 130 at-bats. That's going to help, along with the 377 average and a 406 on base. But to have Jose Iglesias with an OPS in the 900s this deep into the season is just weird. This is a guy who's always been known for his glove and having a high average, but he's hitting for extra base hits this year. 15 doubles, like I said, 130 at-bats. His career high was 33 back with 463 at-bats. So he's getting the extra base hits, playing well in Baltimore. Jose Iglesias, nice little season in Maryland. Halfway through the video, player number 15, Tampa Bay Rays, Brandon Lyle. Lyle had a really strong rookie season in 2019, finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting, made an All-Star team, but the power really came on in 2020 where he hit 13 homers, 8 doubles, and 2 triples in 50 games, 33 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, hitting 272 with a 366 on base, 566 slugging, and a 933 OPS, all improving on the previous year. I'm a bit surprised because I thought 2019 might have been the ceiling for Brandon Lyle. That's about as good as he's going to be, but he took a step forward. He's improved as a player, and Brandon Lyle's been really great for the Rays this year, really picking up that offense when guys like Meadows and others have been struggling. Oakland A's, a lot of disappointing players like Simeon and Olsen just not playing well, but on the pitching side, one surprising guy that I saw, Chris Bassett. Yes, Chris Bassett has a 2.57 ERA in 10 starts this year, a whip at 1.214. That's not too far off his career average, but the ERA is very low. This is a guy who doesn't strike anybody out, gives up a decent amount of hits, doesn't really limit the walk or the long ball, but somehow he's pitching well, and I think that's surprising. Maybe it's because he plays in Oakland, maybe because he has great defensive defense behind him. But Chris Bassett having a 2.57 ERA in any sort of season is going to be surprising to me no matter what, especially in that rotation where you have guys like Luzardo who are going to steal the headlines. Chris Bassett's actually had a really good year. Staying in the Bay Area, San Francisco Giants, super surprising. They're going to make the playoffs over the Mets. That kills me. But their most surprising player is going to be Donovan Solano. I've talked about him in previous videos. He's having a really, really good season. Not hitting for power. I mean, 3 homers. He's never going to be a guy who hits a lot of homers, but 15 doubles and a triple in 46 games with 28 RBIs. It's really good. Slash line, 337 average, 376 on base, 494 slugging, and 870 OPS. By far the best season of his career. This is a guy who's been a journeyman. He's in his 32, 33-year-old season. I don't think anyone thought Donovan Solano would be breaking out in 2020, but that's exactly what we're seeing. He's playing really good baseball, and it's been huge for the Giants. One of the reasons why they're in the playoff hunt. For the Minnesota Twins, my most surprising player is maybe a little bit weird, Byron Buxton. Now, we expect him to actually be a good player. He had a good season in 2019 before the injury came around, and he's always been a highly touted prospect. But the interesting thing with Buxton this year is that he's hitting for power. 12 homers and 118 at-bats with 3 doubles and 25 RBIs. He's also not stealing bases, which is weird, and he's only walked twice. That's also weird. Despite having little to no on-base percentage, 271 batting average, 279 on base, he still has a 602 slugging, which gives him an OPS at 880, and we know how he can play center field. What a weird, surprising season we're seeing from Byron Buxton. The power's finally coming around. Plate discipline's not there. Still has an 880 OPS and plays great center field. I'll take him on my team any day. Okay, for the Cincinnati Reds, small sample size, but TJ Antone. That's probably not a name that you're familiar with, but you should be. He's having a really, really good year. In 31 2/3 innings this year, TJ Antone has a 2.56 ERA and a whip hovering around 1 at 1.042. This is his rookie season. 11.1 strikeouts per 9, 4.8 hits per 9, and 1.1 homers per 9. So he's striking out a ton of guys, not giving up a lot of hits. Walks here and there a little high, 4.5, but 39 strikeouts in 31 2/3 innings with 16 walks, 4 home runs, 9 earned runs. That's a really good year out of TJ Antone, and this is not one of the guys that you talked about with the Reds pitching this year. Gray, Castillo, Bauer, and TJ Antone casually. Really, really surprising season from him. Well done. Sticking in the National League Central, Devin Williams, reliever for the Brewers, who's casually been quite possibly the best reliever in baseball this year, having one of the best seasons we've seen a reliever have in a very long time. In 23 innings, he's only allowed 1 earned run, 1 home run, striking out 47 and walking 8. So yes, an 18.4 K per 9, 2.3 hits per 9, 0.4 homers, and 3.1 walks gives him a whip at 0.609, along with an ERA at 0.39. When all of your things start with 0. whatever, you are having a fantastic season. And when you strike out 18 batters per 9 innings, you're also doing something right. Oh my goodness, Devin Williams has been gross. Where did this come from? I don't know. To the Pacific Northwest we go. Seattle Mariners, most surprising player, Kyle Lewis. Now, Kyle Lewis has cooled down a little bit the second half of the season, and I say second half because it's only been 60 games, but he's still having a really nice year, and I don't think people expected him to put this string of games together for this long. 11 homers, 3 triples, 28 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases, 280 batting average with a 376 on base. You'll love to see that plate discipline. 473 slugging, has dropped a little bit over the last few weeks. Gives him an 849 OPS, but he's playing a good center field. He's been a really fun player to watch for the Mariners, robbing home runs, hitting homers. With all the hype around the prospects that the Mariners have had, Kyle Lewis has gone a little bit under the radar. You hear about Julio Rodriguez, Jared Kelenic. Now you're starting to think about Kyle Lewis as their future center fielder. He's been really good. Very surprising how well he's played this year. It's not that he couldn't do it, it's just you didn't think it was going to happen that quickly. Pittsburgh Pirates have been bad, so their most surprising player hasn't really even been that good. Colin Moran, 8 homers, 8 doubles, 18 RBIs. Just like okay, with a 240 average, 322 on base, 448 slugging, and a 770 OPS. I have to pick someone, and he's the guy. There's pretty much no one else to choose from. He's by far been their best offensive player this year, which I guess would surprise me when you have guys like Josh Bell, Brian Reynolds. You think they would carry all the weight, but no. Colin Moran's been the offensive guy this year. Even then, still hasn't been great, but we got to pick someone from every team. Colin Moran's the Pirates. Staying in the National League Central, St. Louis Cardinals' most surprising player, Quang Young Kim. Now, I don't think Quang Young Kim will be good much longer, but this year he's been fantastic, and it's surprising to me because obviously I'm not a believer in how good he can actually be. In 7 games, 6 starts, 1.59 ERA, and a whip under 1 at 0.971 in 34 innings pitched. Now, the reason I don't think he can be that good is because he just doesn't get swing and misses. He doesn't strike people out. 5.6 strikeouts per 9. He's a bit of a soft tosser. I think he'll get figured out quickly, but in 2020, I got to give him credit. He's pitching really well. Been awesome for the Cardinals. 6.1 hits per 9, a whip under 1. You can't deny that Quang Young Kim has been good, and count me as surprised. I didn't think at 31 he was going to be able to do it. The Chicago White Sox might be the most surprising team in baseball. They got a lot of great players going on there, but to me, the most surprising in my eyes is going to be Matt Foster. Relief pitcher, he started 2 games, but not really. And he's been lights out for the White Sox, pitching some big innings for them. 19 appearances, 1.88 ERA in 24 innings pitched with a whip under 1 at 0.833. Picked him up in fantasy. He's been great. 10.5 Ks per 9, 5.3 hits, under a homer per 9, and 2.3 walks. Great control with a lot of strikeouts, not giving up hits, not giving up home runs. Matt Foster at 25 years old has put himself right into some high leverage situations with the White Sox in the bullpen. He's going to be pitching in some important games in the playoffs, and I don't think anyone thought that was going to happen. Let's go visit our friends up north. Toronto Blue Blue Jays' most surprising player to me, Teoscar Hernandez. Teoscar's having a really good season. 16 homers, 7 doubles, 30 RBIs, and stealing 5 bases, which is one shy of his career high 6 last year. Here's what's surprising though. 307 average for a guy who's a lifetime 240 hitter. 356 on base, of course, career high 639 slugging. That's almost 200 points higher than his career average. And a 994 OPS. Really awesome year from Teoscar. He's been great for the Blue Jays. We're finally seeing him break out. We've been waiting for this forever. He's finally doing it. Good to see that he came back from the injury nice and healthy. Teoscar has been great. I'm excited to see the Blue Jays in the playoffs. This guy can do some damage. For the trash can banging Houston Astros, I'm going to go with Christian Javier as their most surprising player. Now, Javier has been one of their top pitching prospects, but I don't think that you expect him to have such a big role that he's had this year, and he's casually been one of their better pitchers. 11 games appeared in, 9 starts, 48 2/3 innings, an ERA at 3.33, and here's the kicker, a whip under 1 at .986. He's given up virtually no hits, 5.7 hits per 9 innings. That's incredible. Now, he doesn't strike out a ton of batters, 9 per 9 innings. That's very good. And he does give up the long ball quite a bit, almost 2 per 9, along with some high walks, but he's still pitching really well. And it's surprising to me. At 23 years old, you didn't think that Christian Javier was going to step in and be a big part of this rotation, but he's going to be starting a game in the playoffs. And I don't think anybody thought that was going to be the case this year for the Astros. He's probably going to get a start ahead of McCullers. The Los Angeles Angels, easy choice, Dylan Bundy. They got him from the Orioles for absolutely nothing, and they have him until 2022. It's going to end up being a great move by the Angels. Dylan Bundy got to LA, and typically where they don't develop pitchers, he's gotten better. 3.12 ERA in 60 2/3 innings this year with a 1.005 whip, striking out 10.2 batters per 9 innings, career high, giving up way less hits, 6.8, way less homers, 0.6, and way less walks. He's having the best year of his career by far. He's figured something out in Los Angeles. The Angels have a pitcher that they can use in their rotation for the future. I don't think at the start of the season anyone thought Dylan Bundy would have been casually in the Cy Young conversation. Not so much now as he once was, but still Dylan Bundy, fantastic year for the Angels. Definitely a surprise. 3 more players left here. Washington Nationals stink, but Trey Turner has not. That's not the surprising part though. The surprising part is he's playing at an MVP type level. In 2020, Trey Turner leads the National League in hits at 70, 10 homers, 13 doubles, a National League best 4 triples, and 32 RBIs while stealing 9 bases, 337 average with a 394 on base, 582 slugging, and 976 OPS. Career highs across the board. He's having an unbelievable season. If it wasn't for Juan Soto, he would probably be in the legitimate MVP conversation. It's just a guy on his team's playing better. We hadn't seen this kind of power from Trey Turner before. 19 homers was his previous career high, and that was in 122 games. Right now in 52, he's got 10. He would smash that record this year for him. What an incredible season. Always been a big Trey Turner fan. Always said he's so underrated. People better start putting some respect on his name. He's legit. Second to last player, most surprising for the Philadelphia Phillies. Not a lot of great choices. I went with Alec Bohm. Now, I thought Alec Bohm was going to be real good. He was actually my Rookie of the Year pick, but based on what we've seen with these team and this numbers, I think he's your best choice. I don't think people thought he was going to be as good as he was. Those people were stupid because, I mean, this guy can hit. 4 homers, 10 doubles, and 22 RBIs in 37 games, hitting 331 with a 389 on base, 496 slugging to give him an OPS at 886. Didn't play that bad of a third base either. I think that's probably the biggest surprise to me. I heard that this guy really wasn't much of a fielder. He's got a really strong arm, and he makes the plays he needs to. You see that bat though at the plate? That's all you care about. Alec Bohm's a really good player. He's going to be tantalizing me, giving me nightmares for the next like 10 years with the Phillies. Not happy about that, but he's definitely a talented player. I guess he's the most surprising. And then last, but certainly not least, as the most surprising player on the Colorado Rockies, Daniel Bart. Now, you might be wondering like, oh, he has a 4.09 ERA, a whip at 1.3. Why is he the most surprising? Well, this guy hadn't pitched in Major League Baseball since 2013. Last season, he was actually working with the Diamondbacks organization as a player mentor. He wasn't pitching anymore. His career was over. But in February of 2020 for the Rockies, through for some scouts, they signed him to a minor league deal. He was going to be on their minor league team, but then he came up in spring training and was gross. He ended up making the Major League team after being out of baseball for 7 years. Wasn't in the majors since 2013. He's now 35 years old. He may not be having the best season on paper, but to me, that is shocking that a guy can be out of the majors for 7 years, basically be done, be working for the Diamondbacks in an advisory role, and then just come in the next year and pitch for the Rockies in some high leverage games. Yeah, 6 saves on the year. That's pretty incredible. So those are my picks for the most surprising player in a good way for every team in Major League Baseball for the 2020 season. We are winding down here. The season's almost over. I can't believe it. And the Mets are not winning the World Series. Shocker. Yeah, bad prediction. But we still have a lot of baseball left, even though the season's almost over. We have an entire month of the playoffs. I got so much content planned for the playoffs. You guys are gonna love it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of that. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Get in the comments down below. I wanna hear your opinions, what you have to say. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitch, second channel, links in the description. And that's where we're gonna wrap up today's video. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate you. I haven't been the most consistent trying to get back on the grind. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.